It's stand-up. Over to you, David.
Hey, welcome to Daily Stand-Up. First bit of news. Quentin and I had a nice, and what we hope will be the start of many conversations with the appeals court about doing some forms for them. And we're very positive about that as a potential engagement, because the people who contacted us is the head clerk in the appeals court. So you may have sensed in some of my prior discussion that where there is friction in our work with the trial court, it comes about because of the fact that it is, many courts across all of the state with different clerks whose chain of command is not exactly directly under the what you would think of as the court. Whereas here it's and they're of course the ones who have to actually deal with the papers coming in. And so that distance from the end user on the court side has been difficult to navigate, and that's how I'll leave it. So the positive thing here is that this is the end user on the court side reaching out to us directly and interested in working with us very closely. And so we're very positive about that. And so just so you understand, like, what do you mean? We're already working with the court. The court systems in Massachusetts, they're little individual firewall units. So we've been working with the trial court, which are, all the, what you would think of, as sort of what people think of as court. The appeals court is only one of them, and that's where all the appeals for matters in those courts go to. And so they're interested in getting ahead of the end to the housing moratorium because they foresee a bunch of things going through the housing court and then getting appealed and then having to deal with that. So very positive about that.
Are they going to need multiple signatures?
That's an interesting question. Probably not in the same way. A lot of their the stuff they gave us, it looks very, I don't want to say simple, but straightforward.
Don't say that.
Right.
We'll see how complicated more gets there. The point is, however, that and they're all going to start as DocX because they're mostly just motions, with the exception of the affidavit for indigency, which is done. So we're excited about that. And what I think that's going to mean is we might have a little change in some of our focus on what forms people are working on, because we want to try to get those to them quick. And so, it's just a heads up I wanted to give people. So that's good.
And it's also time to try out the wizard, right? We can try the wizard using the DocX, which is going to be cool.
That's how
we did one. So that was kind of fun. We got one in like an hour and a half of work.
Good job.
Yeah, the day before they called,
wizards.
We're just calling to be like, can you talk to us about how to do work form stuff? And they sent us this is what we're thinking. They sent us some DocX forms. I'm like, Quentin, can you run this through the wizard? He's like, sure. And then he runs it through the wizard, and then we showed it to them. We're like, so just to give you an idea of what we could help you. We don't have to just talk to you. We could help you and just give you an idea. Look, Quentin ran this through the wizard, and then Quentin blew their pants off. It was good.
Nice.
Not just their socks, their pants as well.
That's true. Not just their socks.
We don't know for sure if they're wearing pants. So it's just. Did you see this thing going around Twitter?
All right.
No.
It was okay. Anyway, maybe I can find it. Save it for Casual Friday.
Seems Casual Friday. That being said,
that's very good
move
though.
Around the circle and have people touch base. So, May, if you're the first up on my screen here.
So I was supposed to have met with Lance and Michelle, but then real work came up last night. So we've rescheduled for Sunday afternoon, my time, morning, your time. And hopefully we'll have some progress to report on Tuesday in that regard. Jody and I think, are meeting on Saturday to finalize all of our onboarding stuff, and I'm meeting with Luke next week to onboard him. He's going to be the guinea pig to kind of run through that. So we'll ask him to identify gaps and stuff like that. I saw some new people joining the channel. I'm not too sure what we're supposed to be doing with them yet.
A very good question.
Yeah, we need to just figure that out. Okay, that's me.
All right, and to Eric.
I've been spending all my time helping Michelle move along the moratorium because it's on a timeline.
A lot of great PR reviews.
Yeah,
Good
just
job,
moving
guys.
those requests. Yeah, I had an idea and a documentation idea.
Yeah.
There's this software that I think access to through my mom, but it's called Searchy.
One moment, Eric. Okay, yes.
You know it?
Go ahead. Yeah, David just muted. That was helpful. Sorry,
okay.
David.
Yeah. There's this program that
someone else muted me.
called Searchy, and you can make transcripts of videos. And so I was nice.
Sorry, okay, tell us. It's called Search E.
Searchy, and you can make transcripts of videos that are searchable. That's the idea. So I was thinking it could be an idea for a documentation project to turn the videos into searchable, timestamped
Hugely.
kind of things.
That would be huge. That would be really, really cool. Because right now, what we do is when you record on Zoom to the cloud, it gives you a transcript with speakers' names, which is great. But we don't actually record to the cloud. Actually, pretty much ever, maybe 1 or 2 calls. So then what we do is when you upload it onto YouTube, you get like a very weird transcription. Like it's basically doesn't indicate speakers or anything like that. It's just words all over the show. So having something like that would be really, really cool. Because as I said, like I've done a lot of calls that are about an hour or so, onboarding people and covering questions. And I know Michelle, I think, has also done a lot of those. So something like that would be a really cool function.
Yeah, if we wanted to like make a short list of intro videos for onboarding, that would probably be the place to try it out. We don't have to do all of the videos,
right?
Just for sake, but if it was, we could do more than we would be willing to ask people to watch.
Right, and people can just search. They get stuck. I really like that. Thank you, Eric. I will make a note to reach out to you offline about that. And how's it going? So you've just been working on the moratorium stuff with Michelle. Okay. Who's next, David?
Michael.
Nice haircut, Mike.
Thanks. Right, so I've been working with Mia on my 2 forums. We've just been getting a lot of the code up to date. I'm also working with Matt Brooks on something for the consumer debt interview. So we're going to add like another paragraph that involves a combination of 2 different reasons for missing the course. So I'm waiting to hear back from him on that, and then we're just going to add it to the code. But that one's looking really good. And then the motion to vacate in the housing context, Mia and I just worked on this morning. We had a bit of an issue with the code, so we're just trying to figure that out. Michelle was helping us. But it's looking pretty good right now.
That's always what happens when Michelle gets in. It's always like, Michelle, please help.
Yeah, seriously.
Quentin's going to be helping with this one too. So
okay.
I'm never alone. This is and it's built on the shoulders of giants. So.
Yeah. It was literally supposed to be like a half-hour meeting between Mia and I, and then it turned into like a 2-hour meeting with Michelle trying to figure out what was going wrong.
We're getting there.
All right. Well, it sounds like the directional motion is correct. And actually, that's a good segue because Michelle is next on my screen here.
Perfect. So I've been working on motion. Nope, that's you. Eviction moratorium. Caroline and Mariah, I think, have been making really good progress on wording and stuff. Want to go over making pull requests because when I make the pull requests, I can't add myself as a reviewer, so it gets a little fuzzy there. I got stuck for a few hours just with the edit and send stuff in my head. So I went on that for a while, but there's a lot of, even before that, there is UI. I was trying to get to it during the review. There is UI that I want review on for the multi-signature interview that I think is worth looking at and seeing if, like, I've already identified like 2 or 3 things that I'm like, no, that needs to change, right? And I'm not saying that I'm the best one, like, and Caroline, you and Mariah identified a question that was unclear. So there is stuff there that needs to be clarified. And other than that, working through the issues that people brought up, I think if you and Mariah wanted to label things that, if you want to like basically mock up what a block would look like, I can then implement it in the code and make that process a little faster so that you all could focus on the language and I could iterate. From what I can tell, it's not possible to do the interaction that y'all described on the Court Finder page. Quentin added a comment to that PR. So it'd be great if you and or Mariah could take a look at that and see what he said and see how to work with that or around that, or if there's a conversation to have about that. And what else? I am trying to get the test framework prepared for handling more complex situations like the eviction moratorium and ideally like the multi-user signature, though that's going to be that's going to be interesting. So so there's still some race conditions. I think there's issues with DOCA symbol changing, like hiding and showing elements, which then changes the position on the screen of the elements. And because Puppeteer is clicking physically in order to replicate being a human, like there are issues where that comes in. So there's like, so the rates conditions are more complex than just like wait for the page to load. And if anyone is interested in talking about the usability of how to write the cucumber tests so that they are clear to people, I would love that conversation, because there's some very specific questions I have there about, and Caroline, you might actually be good with this, because it's a lot about wording and kind of how to make those decisions. So maybe if we could meet at some point about that. But for now, if I'm the only one writing the tests, it's not super urgent, other than it would change, depending on the choice, it would change how we built the tests. So, but it's possible I could change that afterwards. I think that's all. Is there something else, anything else that anybody can think of?
Quite a lot to me. I still like Quentin's observation that you're basically recreating a multi-million-dollar company, DocuSign, as far as the multi-signature flow goes.
That was very sweet of him to say, but it is mostly DOCA symbols. So let's remember that. Remember when we win, Jonathan, you know,
That's right.
Jonathan's
That's
behind it.
true.
So I could not have done that from scratch, for sure.
But thinking through all these different complex issues with different, things happening asynchronously, it's a big problem.
It is. It's an interesting one. Drives me crazy. Okay, I think that's it for me.
All right. Well, then I have Quentin up next on my Hollywood Squares here.
You hit the big one. I think I just came from the Housing Coalition meeting. Hopefully we'll have some more housing forms that we could add into the mix that will be like a post-moratorium kind of thing. But otherwise, I think you hit the main points, David. And I have a lot new from Tuesday other than that.
All right, Kate.
You should always go first in case she needs to jump off. Note to
No,
self.
I'm good today.
Tuesday she has the meeting at 1.
And my office is closed today, so I got nothing.
Closed.
We're closed, yeah, because the court, we close if the courts close, and the courts are closed.
The court's closed in recognition of
Memoriam.
Yeah. I don't know, Caroline and I should talk about that contempt again at some point.
Yeah.
With the appeals thing, if they're like willing to take forms, would it be worth reaching out to the civil appeals clinic that VLP does? Because they might have more ideas. Like they help, pro se people with their appeals. They might have more ideas of like kind of simple things that could be helpful.
That could be really good. I think, of course, we're going to have to see. We haven't signed anything yet with them.
Yeah, but if they're willing to play ball, that might be a way to help even more with the appeals court stuff, because they probably have I feel like they would have a good sense of like what basic forms might be helpful and might use that.
I don't feel like there's any harm in that outreach. I think Quentin's right. We can't. I don't think it's too early to know what that would happen, but getting people thinking about things, especially with the stuff down the road, I think is always good. So if you want to have like a contingent conversation, be like, it looks like maybe, like if you want us to whisper in someone's ears, what are the things you really want to see?
Yeah, because they're operating now even on Zoom, and that's probably when those things are extra helpful to have.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. No, if you could make that outreach, that'd be great. Anything else?
No.
All right, then I come back to Spencer again, and then it's to Caroline, who is in the center square.
For me as well.
So yeah, just had the review. Have a lot to fix and change and screw around with, which is going to be a fun time. Besides that, I have to finish up doing the issues on GitHub, just to document what I've done so far. But besides that, ready to start rolling and get it going.
I
All right,
think you've done a
nice.
fantastic job. I really am so impressed.
Yeah. All right, Caroline, you tell us what's up with you and then move us into Casual Fridays.
Okay. Let's see. So Tuesday, I was waiting for one of my PRs to get. I guess Quentin, right. So you approved it and then you merged it, right? And so then my next job was to work on the defendant addendum, which was I was a little intimidated by. So I worked with Mariah instead on the moratorium, eviction moratorium, non-essential. And there are a lot of issues on that we are sort of just trying to work through. And I think, Michelle, your idea is that we should work on language and leave the coding to you is true. At the same time, though, sometimes you need to see what it looks like on the screen before you go to the next screen.
Which is why I said, let me know when you're meeting, because then I can do some of that.
What we did, and then you had to go at 3, as I recall. There was a thing, there was some, I don't remember, there was an issue, and we were also trying to move through.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Whatever. It happens. What happens? Just check with me and see if I.
I think we do, and we were also thinking, okay, so we sent it off to you, and we're trying to there's so many of them, we're trying to sort of pull them together rather than have a separate one for each one, because then it gets really confusing. Then you're like, oh, well, we already did this, so we were doing that. But what Mariah said is she was thrilled after the review that she went doing the demo with everybody. I mean, she was so positive about it, because last week she was almost in tears because she was, because this thing needs to get out. It's by the time we get it done, the moratorium is going to be ended. But anyway, she was just over the moon. She thought it was so valuable. So I wanted to let you all know that how important that was to her. And we are sort of getting through it. Then I did get back onto the defendant addendum thing, and Michelle helped me with that a little bit. But there's something that I know is really easy, and I can't get it to work. And I'm getting this literal what's it called? Literal, trying to use literal instead of integer in a string thing. I know I've had it before. Is that making sense? Base 10? Does that code make? I know what's happening is
I need to do an evaluation on something.
Doc needs a number, and it's getting not a real number. And Kendall helped me this once before. It was an equation. It's like you use 3 minuses or something, and I can't find it anywhere.
You can also probably just convert it to an int or a float if it's a.
I did that. It didn't work. It didn't like it.
Okay, let's get on after
it.
it.
So that's where I am, and I just feel like, it's not that hard. It's a syntax thing, and I should probably just let it go. But then the defendant addendum's done, and I can keep working on with the other issues.
You can also post the question in the code channel, or message.
Yeah, I was going to.
Yeah.
But then this morning I've been working with New Hampshire all morning, which I thought was going to be like a half-hour call, so it ended up being all morning.
All right.
So anyway.
Well, if no one has anything else for stand-up, maybe we can stop recording. And I think Caroline, since you went last, you get to start us off.